Okay, it's Alec the Catholic, and I'm doing another 21 Pilots song because it's just too good. It's just too good. It's like everything I'm looking for in music right here. Meaning, purpose, depth, clever, and simple. Simple instrumentation, simple everything, but it's still a cacophony of wonderful sounds. These guys know how to put a song together in a way that just it's unique, totally unique. Isle of Flightless Birds, live in Denver. Let's go.
Now is the climax to the story that gives the demons in danger. They fly around while we are holding our emotions just to please them.
Okay, so I love the song so far. It's really a good song, but the quality of this, I didn't realize this was just like somebody filming on their camera phone. So I think I should find a little better version. That way I can actually hear what they're going through. I'm sorry. I should have probably tested this before, but I'm gonna pull up the lyrics video. I'm pretty sure I can trust this. Sorry, I hate doing that, but I have to because it was crackling and the drums were just too loud for that guy's phone. Just like no. Those birds don't look flightless to me. I kind of like the ukulele thing he was doing though. That was nice. I don't mind the synths, but the ukulele was cool.
Now is the climax to the story that gives the demons and angels purpose. They fly around while we are walking and mold our emotions just to please them. I am cold, can you hear? I will know no fear. And the ground touch my wings, plummet as I sing, plummet as I sing.
Oh, so this is a little slower, but it's got a really big sound. It's more orchestral. It's really awesome that it's just Tyler and Josh doing all of this stuff. It's nuts. Um, So that's really cool. Little thing that I've noticed: angels and demons. This is not the first time he's talked about demons. Now he's talking about angels. They float around and they play with our emotions. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like that is something in Christianity. We believe that angels and demons can have kind of an effect on our emotions. They can kind of like help us or make us or encourage us to feel a certain thing or put an idea in our head. What we choose to do is ultimately our decision. Those anything related to that, but the demons tempt and angels tempt toward good, right? They can encourage or inspire sometimes. So the but they're not under everything, right? So like we don't live in this world where it's like surround yourself with you know stakes and silver bullets and it's like no, it's just that's just kind of how we understand angels and God's spiritual beings that help us. They're talked about in the Bible, kind of what's their nature, how do they operate. So St. Thomas Aquinas has a lot on that. But regardless, he's talking about them again in this song, and he's talking about us. I guess we're the flightless birds, and he's cold. He's gonna fly with no hope, no fear in the ground. Taunts his wings. Plummet as I sing, plummet as I sing. I'm not sure what the meaning is yet of the chorus. Let's keep listening and let's see if we can understand what he's talking about there. And who is he talking to specifically?
All we are is an isle of flightless birds. We find our worth in giving birth and stuff. We're landing our homes against winding roads, and we think the going is tough. We pick songs to sing, remind us of things that nobody cares about. And honestly, we're probably more suicidal than ever now.
Oh, okay. I gotta pause it right there. We're more suicidal than ever now. It's funny because he's kind of right. Like in a sense, it's like birds go, they find random stuff like string or twigs and whatever, and they build this little like nest, as fast as they can with like just stuff because they got to give birth, and it's like their whole purpose is just like I gotta like mate, give birth, raise the chicks, and send them off to roost or to fly or whatever. I don't know the life cycle of birds, but that's basically what they do, right? And it's an interesting analogy. He's kind of comparing humans to birds and how like it seems for a lot of us we just find our meaning and our purpose in life is just giving birth and stuff. I thought at first he was talking about like giving birth and stuff, like having the baby and raising kids, and giving birth is just a piece of like raising a family. But no, I think now I'm thinking about it because he talks about the suicide thing. I think he's talking about giving birth, which is starting a family, and stuff like material things. So that's another way potentially to take it. I think that's probably more what he's meaning here. I have the lyrics pulled up because that's what I should be doing. Um, we find our worth in giving birth and stuff. You could take it either way, I think, and maybe that's like a double entendre. He's like deliberately doing that because he knows there's a double meaning within that one line, lining our homes against winding roads that we think are going to be tough. Uh, and honestly, we're probably more suicidal than ever now. Yeah, so kind of like after giving birth and finding all our meaning and stuff, like just reproducing and having things, it's kind of like now the suicide is on the rise. And it's true. Suicide is on the rise in America. Um, I don't know all the statistics, but that's just kind of what I recall hearing recently. Is that it's on the rise again in America. The opioid crisis is kind of coming down to a halt, um, but the suicide rate is crazy high, and it seems to be growing. And the UK has a real big problem with it, and Japan has a big problem with it, and wealthy countries developed countries where you have lots of giving birth and stuff, there seems to be a lot of suicide. It's crazy. The people, yeah, I think Dave Chappelle talked about it in his latest special, Sticks and Stones. He talked about how there was like this guy who he knew from high school who wanted to marry this girl, and he told him, "No, don't do it. Like it's the worst thing. You're too young to just get married right out of high school. Like don't do that." He's like, "No, I'm in love," so he gets married. And then 30 years later, Dave Chappelle runs into him again, and he's divorced. The girl, he and the girl broke up. They got divorced. Now he works at a gas station, and that's his whole life. You know, uh, and Dave Chappelle compares him to Anthony Bourdain from Parts Unknown. Bourdain's Parts Unknown, and Anthony Bourdain went around the world eating the best meals, meeting all kinds of people. He lived like the one of the best lives you could ever live, and yet Anthony killed himself. And this guy, this gas station attendant whose life went exactly as Dave Chappelle thought it would go, and he was not a happy man and struggling really hard. He never once thought about killing himself. And Dave Chappelle was just laughing at the irony of it, right? It was kind of a joke, but it it speaks to something deeper. That the gas station attendant, even though his life is very simple, he's got something to live for, and that might very well just be tomorrow, fighting for his next meal, fighting for a chance to survive, the hope of just making it one more day, not having everything fall into your lap, and living in the lap of luxury. And you know if you're so busy trying to survive, you don't really have time to think about the existential crisis of life. you know you don't start to ask yourself, what's the purpose, what's the point, because you're so afraid of dying, you know or of losing basic necessities like the roof over your head, food, and clothing. So it's a fascinating thing that he's talking about here. The song is really slow. That's another thing I've noticed, and I'm just making it worse by talking every 30 40 seconds.
If you decide to live by what you think's wrong and what's right, believe me, you'll begin to wish you were sleeping. Your weeping will creep in your head and you'll cry. But if we wake up every morning and decide what we believe, we can take apart our very heart and the light will set us free.
He's speaking to have a purpose. Get up in the morning, have a purpose, have a reason for living. Make and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And remind yourself why you're doing this. As a Christian and as a Catholic, it's really easy. That's an easy question for me to answer. I know my purpose in life, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it necessarily, and that's what I decide every day. But I know why I'm here, and that gives me purpose. And so I know for other people who, for non-religious folks, that there is still a yearning for purpose, and you do need to find that. Jordan Peterson, I think he talks about how you can kind of determine or figure out what your purpose is. There, you can find examples of people who are secular, who have found their purpose in life, and they live very happy, successful lives. I think everyone needs that. I think it all starts there. Ultimately, I would love everyone to find God and to find their real reason why they're living, but I think it can start, and it has to start with deciding to get up every morning first, right? And continuing to live. You have to have something to live for. And if you're struggling with that, don't give up. Keep looking. Do some research. Listen to some podcasts. Listen to some folks on YouTube who are talking about this exact question of purpose. And there are quizzes online you can take. There are people you can talk to. You might be able to discover what your purpose is. And it could be very well just someone else's life, or society at large, or there's a higher power in your life that you might want to serve, and that can give you meaning. That can give you purpose. It could be just helping others. It could be a very simple thing. I want to be able to smile every day or make other people smile every day. It can be as simple as that. If you haven't considered the God possibility, I encourage you to look in that one. Look that direction too. I'd encourage everyone to rule out that direction at least the very first. I challenge you to do it. My God needs no defending. I don't need to defend him. So you can go try and prove him wrong. Find the best arguments against God and debunk them, or try to. Encourage that. Um, this is cool. And again, here I am dragging it out again. Ooh.
Frustrating and so degrading. It's time we're wasting as time will fly.
Did you catch that? His time we're wasting. And just Tyler loves to write these little psalms, these prayers into music. So he's saying that it's God's, that all time is God's time. I think, unless he's talking about Josh, he could be talking about Josh. Josh ain't God. Drum God, maybe.
How frustrating and so degrading. It's time we're wasting as time will fly by and the sky will cry as light is fading and he is waiting. Oh, so patiently while we repeat the same routine as we will please comfortability. Yeah, please think about why you can sleep in the evening, and please don't be afraid of what your soul is really thinking. Your soul knows good and evil. Your soul knows both sides, and it's time you pick your battle. And I promise you this is mine.
Boom. Okay, so I made a little invitation to explore God before, but I will defer my invitation to Tyler's. I think Tyler puts it right there just very beautifully. Please think about why you can't sleep in the evening. And please don't be afraid of what your soul is really thinking. That's a very deep invitation. I have a friend of mine who I work with in my ministry. We volunteer together in the same confirmation ministry, and I admire him and his faith a lot. We work really well together in the ministry because, is my wife likes to say, I tend to know God, and he knows God. I don't know if you can see what I know God. I tend to I've gotten to the point where I know that there's a God because I've logically reasoned to it. I've heard all the rational arguments against God's existence that I could find, the best ones that I could find. And I found reasonable, rational arguments to debunk them and to contradict them. And I've been convinced logically, reasonably, that there is a God. There must be. I've philosophized to that point. And so most of my faith is founded in reason. Whereas my friend, he didn't go that route. He came to God through his heart. He had an encounter with God. And so his faith informs his reason to an extent. He knows that there's a God because he can't deny what he felt, what his soul was thinking. So I know God, he knows God, and I try my best to know God more so that I'm balanced in this. Faith and reason work together hand in hand. You cannot actually separate those two. You can't have faith for no reason, and you can't just have reason in your entire life and never put your faith in anything, because you'll never do anything if that's the case. Um, the insane person, I think G.K. Chesterton said, the insane man is too logical. It's not that he's not logical; it's he's almost entirely logical and rational. He can logically conclude anything, that the moon is made of cheese and that lizard people exist and that they're controlling the world. Like, you cannot argue with that man. Nothing you say will be able to logically defeat his argument, because he's logicked it to death, right? Um, it's like, I think the analogy was like, artists artists take take their minds and put their minds in heaven, but crazy people try to fit heaven in their minds, and it drives them insane. Um, so if you're too rational, you're trying to understand all of God, and everything you have is just reason alone, and you don't have any faith. You don't use your imagination, and let your mind go into heaven versus trying to squeeze heaven into your mind, into your brain. Then the reason will fail. So the two really do complement each other and should be balanced. So I'm trying to know God more. And I just love his invitation here. It's a very deep one, very, very deep one. Your soul knows good and evil. Your soul knows both sides. You growing up in this world, it's impossible not to encounter evil and be tempted towards it. I mean, that's just original sin. And it's time you pick your battle. I promise you, this is mine. Again, it's a little confession, right? It's a little peek into Tyler's. Yeah, I don't know if they write these together. Let me know about that. But it seems to me that it's mostly Tyler's work. Yeah, it says right here, songwriter Tyler Joseph. So I love the fact that he's admitting to you that this is the thing that this is what he's got to do. This is his mission. This is his purpose. Um, this is what he's going to fight for. This is what he's going to fight to do, even if it means fighting himself. That's cool. That's super deep. I mean, just the lessons, the lessons that are hidden in these songs. It's insane. It's really insane. It's so cool. I love doing this. So, but the thing I love about it more is not just because it's like a Christian message. It is true, and like the last TOP video that I did, like just they're speaking so much truth. Like, everyone needs a purpose, religious or not. And I think, his invitation is an invitation to God, but if you're still unwilling to go there, or if you're not convinced, or if you don't want to go there, like, it does not hurt to do this exploring, and to at least ask the question, all right, well, good and evil, which side am I going to end up on? Am I going to be a good guy or a bad guy? Do I want to side with He-Man, or what's the guy with the skull guy? I forget the skull guy's name. Castle Grayskull. I forget the guy's name. Oh, someone's gonna tell me what He-Man's enemy, his rival, like the bad guy from He-Man. Whatever. You get the point. Do you want to be the baddies or the goodies? You got to make your decision and live your life with purpose. And I think that's what he's encouraging you to do here. And maybe, just maybe that way, the suicide epidemic can stop, can slow down. And if you're struggling with suicide, I have a link to a great app that I used in my addiction. Big community on there called Our Tribe. I get no, they don't sponsor these videos. I get no kickback at all. I earn nothing and gain nothing other than knowing that I'm putting it out there, and other people who are suffering from social anxiety, depression, addiction, porn addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction. There's a community of people who are struggling the same as you on Our Tribe. The letter R, tribe.org. Link is in the description. I put it in on all my videos, and I'll continue to because I use it myself. It's totally anonymous. You can pay for some added features, but the free version is really, that's all you need. And it's just another place for you to go to get stuff off your chest, and with other people who understand what you're going through, because they're going through it too. And I appreciate that a lot. So thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and watching this video. I took a 5-minute song and I made it really, really long. I'm gonna stop it right here. I know there might be some more music. I don't think that there's any more words. So again, thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.